You ready, bitch?
Maybe.
Just press the damn button, nerd.
Wait.
What is up, Raider Nation? Your buddy Murf back once again for what we trust will be a fantastic episode of the Raiders Fan Radio Rundown. A little RFR rundown coming to you not live, but pre-recorded on a Wednesday evening. I appreciate everybody that's joining us tonight on the YouTubes at youtube.com/Raiders Fan Radio. Appreciate all of you that are in the chat. Even though we're not doing this thing live, we always love to go back and read your chat. So definitely post that stuff up there and keep it busy in there. We want to know all your opinions about a lot of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, which is really not going to be a ton. There are a handful of things we're going to get into. Not a ton of Raider news. It's kind of desolate right now. But appreciate you dipping in and watching anyways. And also those of you that are listening via your audio podcast service. And if you want to listen to us on the audio podcast, all you got to do is search for Raiders Fan Radio on Spotify. You can find us on, what else, Jeff? How about I blank on that?
Apple, Google,
Pandora,
Amazon Music, all the things.
Yeah, ask your internet connected device to play Raiders Fan Radio, and it will. And so we appreciate you doing that very much. And while you're there, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit a thumbs up. Throw in a review.
Just press the damn button,
please,
nerd.
because anything that you do helps promote the show, and with 100% of the money that we get via advertising, and we've got a new advertising partner coming on that I can't announce tonight, along with some other stuff we've got to announce too. But before we get to all that, thank you to all of you for joining us, and I want to thank the man joining me to my right, the gentleman that adorns the Western Annex of the Murf Fan Cave desk. He is the one and only Swag Jeff.
I thought you were gonna go styling and profiling.
There it is, man.
Woo!
I was letting you get your applause break in.
Oh, is that what you were doing?
Yeah, I was doing that. We probably should have workshopped that before we went live.
Yeah, well, we've just been playing around here for a little bit, you know.
Playing around.
Yeah.
I've been having some fun with it. We've had a blast. Jeff and I, I've got it written down here. We're going to talk about it in a minute. We've got a really fun, I thought this trivia question that used to be irrelevant back in the day, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago.
Sure.
And so we kind of looked at the updated version of the trivia question, and we're going to run it by you guys tonight. It's a lot of fun, and it's very NFL centric, but it's got a lot of Raider flavor to it. So
that's right.
Look forward to talking about that. But anyways, Swaggo.
Yeah, it's good to be here, man. Yeah, we're not going to do an RFR live this week because, it's the off season. So we go every other week, but we always want to try to bring you a little something, we always got to hang out with our boys and girls, right?
Absolutely. And we're frankly, we're going to take a little bit of a break.
Okay. Yeah.
We're off until the 15th of RFR Live, of the RFR proper show.
Yeah, man.
We're going to take off to the 15th. We're just going to catch a little bit of a break here, and while everything's kind of wound down as the NFL season officially winds down and closes off, kicks off the 2023 season, Jeff, on March 15th.
Yes.
That's when probably they're going to start getting news around former players that have been signed other places and all that kind of stuff. So we think that'd be a good time to rekindle it.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, at least for our purposes around here, not only we're going to kick off the league season, but we're also going to kick off what is affectionately referred to as the summer of swag by the kids. We're going to do a little spring of swag and get our fundraising kicked off early for 2023 for the One Nation Foundation. And since you're rocking the sweatshirt tonight, why don't you tell them all about it?
Yeah. So tell them about the foundation as well.
Yeah.
So we realized
what are we doing on the 15th?
Well, yeah, all that stuff. So so we realized all the money that we can make. We didn't need to, we didn't need extra income, and we decided we wanted to give every cent of that away. So we started the One Nation Foundation back in 2020. We made a couple donations to the Bolitnikoff folks, and we were like, let's just do it right. So we started an official nonprofit, the One Nation Foundation, and a couple summers ago in fundraising efforts, we decided to create the Summer of Swag. So the Summer of Swag is all summer long. We raffle off live on our show different signed Raider stuff and all that. Well, Swag's coming a little bit early. It's going to be the springtime swag as well. Yeah,
Swagsta Claus is coming early.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So yeah, and we got a good one to kick it off.
Oh yeah,
we got a good one to kick it off. So I've got right here in my hands. I've got an away Devontae Adams signed jersey with the Beckett certificate of authenticity right there with it. So yeah. So March 15th. So the beginning of the new league year is the beginning of the fundraising year for the One Nation Foundation, and so we're going to kick it off big. Our goal this year is $15,000. So and we're going to talk about that a little bit because we kind of Murf is always a little skeptical about this stuff, right? so Murf is always like, I don't know, man, can we get there? Well, he wasn't sure if we were going to get to 8 last year, and we got to 10. So so that's great and fantastic and all that stuff. Well, this year we made the decision to go, you know what, we're gonna double in 10 is tough. It's really tough.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of damn money. So we said, you know what? We'll up it another 5, and we're gonna make our goal $15,000 this year. And it seemed way out there a little bit. We were gonna really have to bust our ass with this fundraising stuff, all that. Well, now it seems a lot more. It seems a lot more. It seems a lot more like we're gonna get that, and maybe even more. Who knows? So I posted yesterday on Twitter that we had a major announcement, and got here to the fan cave today and said we couldn't actually officially announce who it was.
Yeah.
But I can just say that we have a global brand and official corporate sponsor of the One Nation Foundation. So much respect to you. You know who you are, and soon everyone else here will know who it is as well. So much respect. But this little dinky thing that we do, man, this and then this One Nation Foundation stuff, it's getting big time, man. We're getting recognized by some big time folks, and this is going to be legendary. It's going to change literally everything.
Yeah, it is. We've got, and I wish we could tell you more about it. And I'm not a fan of people going like, "Oh, here's a thing, but we can't tell you about it yet," like being a big tease about it. Jeff and I want to and tell you everything.
I have a hat in my bag of what it is.
We want to tell you what it is, but we can't because we want to respect their partnership and respect their requests. And they want to make sure that once the contribution is finalized, that at that point we can announce who they are and use their logos as branding and whatnot for us. And so, but yeah, it's a big one. And not only is it big time for the foundation for us because of who they are, what they represent, and what they're going to do for our foundation, but that also opens up the doors for us to approach other companies as well, because we'll be able to take the credibility and the legitimacy that we're going to get from having this large brand behind us to be able to approach others. And so we look forward to future corporate sponsorships. We've also got, I want to give respect I don't have the official respect tonight, but I want to give respect to your company, Jeff.
Yeah.
Can I call them out by name?
Sure.
Okay with that?
Sure. Absolutely.
McGriff Tire down in Alabama. They're headquartered down in Alabama. Jeff went to his national sales meeting this year, and y'all did some fundraising and raised a couple $1,000. Give yourself applause for that. Not only for the efforts of Swag Jeff down there, talking to his peers and his bosses and whatever, but they came through. And like the people that are in ownership and leadership at McGriff Tire challenged your team to freaking help you raise some money, and you raised a couple grand, dude. So much respect to the McGriff folks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love the McGriff family and all that. They've been around since 1948. Family-owned company. We've got like 15 locations and stuff like that, but and a couple here in Middle Tennessee. So much respect to them. Their big slogan and the thing that they hang on to is, what are you doing when no one's watching, right? So what extra things are you doing, not only for the company and for the greater good, but for your community and stuff like that. So he actually, one of our bosses stood up and said, Jeff, will you please tell us about the One Nation Foundation? And then they posted out a thing on this past Saturday and said, hey, I'm going to challenge every one of you salesmen. Let's get Jeff to $1,000 tonight for the One Nation Foundation. And they doubled it. They doubled it.
That's
so
awesome.
So much respect to my peers, my coworkers, and of course the owners and management of my company. It it was very overwhelming. Just you know, I was flooded with emotion, as the kids say. You know, just because because it's really cool to see that, you know, your coworkers can also kind of be like an extended family to you and stuff like that, and just willing to help out, reach out, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so much respect.
Much respect. We appreciate them very, very much. And, you know, and listen, you know, of course, there is a lot of Raider fans in Alabama because of Kenny Stabler.
Well, of course.
Which we're going to talk about that connection here in a minute. But yeah, you know, a lot of the response that I've gotten from people that are outside the Raiders fan radio or even One Nation Foundation sphere is that the people that have supported the One Nation Foundation had nothing to do with the Raiders. They aren't even Raider fans. They just know us and, you know, want to help our cause. And so, and I've had peers as well that just recently that have said like, yeah, whatever you guys got going on, like I'm in it.
Yep.
So really appreciate those folks. And so anyways, all right. There's all of our housekeeping behind the One Nation Foundation. We'll see you on the 15th for sure for a live show. We'll have Michelle back in here, maybe even QB Jeff back in here. We'll do the giveaway on that Devontae Adams jersey, and that's going to be a fun time. And
also, hey, before we move on, so we've still got one of these balls.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So back in December, we got this thing signed. It's a Raiders football. If you're on the audio, it's a Raiders football, and it's signed by the likes of Chris McDonald, Shooter McGavin. You've got Marcus Allen. You've got Lincoln Kennedy. You got George Atkinson, Fred Biletnikoff, Greg Townsend, Rod Martin, Jim Plunkett. It's awesome, man. And so we're asking for $2,500 for these balls. And one of them is already spoken for. So the one right here, wherever it is, that one's gone. It's spoken for. So we still got one of these things left. So if you want to pool your money with your buddies, do whatever you got to do, let's get this thing $2,500, man. And, you know, I mean, it's a one-of-a-kind.
Literally
it's a 2 of 2 is really what it is. Yeah. So, you know, and we're going to be working on getting this thing authenticated next month with the JSA folks. And I mean, it's just incredible. You know, these balls that have all 3 Super Bowl MVPs on it. I mean,
they start at a couple grand.
And then, oh yeah, we've got other legends on there. All-time sack leader, all-time, you know, movie star in Shooter McGavin, you know, Lincoln Kennedy, you know, who, you know, is now super involved in the Raiders and the Biletnikoff Foundation and all that stuff. So get in the mix with this, man. Like this is seriously, like, this is incredible. My favorite thing that we've ever gotten signed.
Amen. Oh, totally. You know? Oh, 100%. Yeah, good stuff there, Swag Jeff. All right, let's get a break, and then I got an idea. Let's talk about the Raiders.
Let's do that. Hi.
This is AJ Cole from the Las Vegas Raiders, and you're listening to Murf, Mosh, and Swag Jeff on Raiders Fan Radio. Just win, baby.
What's up, Raider Nation? It's your boy, Will Compton. You're listening to Raiders Fan Radio with my boys, Murf, Swaggy Jeff, and Uncle Mosh. Tune in because they put out a banger podcast.
Well, speaking of Bussin with the Boys and our buddy, Will Compton, really fantastic timing on the release of this podcast, most recently by these guys. It's funny. Somebody said not long ago we were doing one of these, and they're like, "Hey, it's a podcast about a podcast."
Right there, you go.
Yeah. So that's literally what we're doing today. We're going to actually talk about a couple different podcasts.
Yeah.
We're going to save you playing the entirety of a bunch of clips like we kind of normally do. Normally, we'll just play a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to save you that, but we're just going to go ahead and kick it off with this. A lot of good information came. So the boys went to Vegas, sat down with our GM Dave Ziegler, and talked to him for 2 hours, man.
Yeah,
and it's
fresh off of a trip to Legoland.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. and it's a great interview. These guys have, and I tweeted them this yesterday. They've not lost the spirit of their show. It's still dick and fart jokes and silliness and all that stuff. But they really have become good interviewers.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, I mean, I don't know if I can be proud of these guys, but like, I'm very proud of where they've come as broadcasters. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And like, while they're still silly, but still maintain, like, you know, like Will was like hitting like some follow-up questions and stuff where like Taylor was almost like backing out of like the conversation. And then Will would be like, "Oh no, what about this?" And then it's fantastic. Anyway, so brag on those guys. Great job. Also RIP Taylor Lewan, Fly High King.
Yeah.
Sorry. He died again.
Yeah, well, you know, he could rise again in silver and black.
Amen.
You know, because of those ties with Dave, man. So if you haven't checked that out yet, so spoiler alert, Dave Ziegler was actually Taylor Lewan's guidance counselor and high school special teams coach. So, and he really helped Taylor kind of get his shit together a little bit before he moved on to that next level.
Yeah.
You know, before he accepted his scholarship to Michigan and all that stuff. So, you know, so the Titans released Taylor Lewan today, but you know, he could rise again. You know, I think he can play right tackle.
I don't know. You know, I've heard offensive linemen describe it as this, is that going from left side to right or right to left, it's not like going guard to center. You know what I mean? Or guard to guard. It's not like that. It's not as translatable. Like, you know, like I just heard today about Philly, because they're talking about whether Jason Kelce is going to retire and how they have a guy playing guard who's going to step in and be the next center for Jason Kelce, or he's just going to continue to be their guard. Like,
Right.
it's kind of interchangeable a little bit more. But I've always heard it described to me in the past, switching from a left to a right at the tackle spot or vice versa is like trying to get up in the morning and do everything with the other hand.
Yeah, it's like trying to write with your opposite hand or something like
brush
that.
your teeth and get
Right.
like do all that kind of stuff. So I don't know how versatile it is for a guy like Taylor. This ain't like Madden where you can just flip him over there. And like what they talked about in the interview too is that like in the old days, your left tackle was your finesse guy. Your right tackle was your grinder, your run guy. Now it's a little more hybrid because you got Joey Bosa on one side and Khalil Mack on the other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like you got to deal with that kind of stuff. So it's not as much defined. And so Taylor's skill set works on the right side, but I don't know if he like is comfortable in doing that. And I mean, look, I know he's had unfortunately a couple of ACLs, but someone's going to pay him to be a left tackle. Like I feel like there's somebody out there that needs a left tackle enough and will probably get him on not a discount per se, but certainly a shitload less than what he's getting ready to make with
I would say a discount.
So I don't know if that works for the Raiders or not. I think that the tea leaves all line up. You know what I mean? Like buddies with Will, who's obviously a freaking ride or die for the Raiders. Which another thing they talked about was that whole playoff Willie and how they were thinking about bringing him back, but they wanted to wait until they're actually in the playoff contention, all that kind of stuff. But so the connection to the Raiders through Will, the connection he has personally with Dave, the place that Taylor's in his career, the need for the Raiders for a tackle, like there's a lot of things that kind of line up. The fact that they can get him for less than you would normally pay for a Taylor Lewan type player.
Sure.
So there are a lot of things that make sense, but you got that one big piece in there is canny. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So I don't know. It's an interesting question. I will say this. If there's a way or a world where this happens, if there's a world where Taylor, is confident in his ability to play that side, I don't know how that affects his knee. Switching to the other side. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things.
Might give that knee a break.
Maybe it does. Maybe it's a good thing. So anyways, but say there's a world where this happens. To me, he is the de facto follow-up to what I know they're different people and different, but like he's the Richie Incognito now.
100%.
He's the guy with some freaking dog in him. He's not afraid of backing down from a fight. Will talk shit like the best of them right to your
dude is
goddamn
a freaking
face.
Raider.
Taylor Lewan is a goddamn Raider, man. Like he is like, and I've thought this for a long time.
Oh yeah,
long before we ever even met him and any of that kind of stuff. Dude is just like the quirkiness of his personality. Like he's got Raider written all. He is a total throwback, not only football player, but Raider. It would be awesome. Now again, far-fetched probably if it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But hey, man, he's got to go to 31. It's got 31 shots at somebody getting them. And
right.
How many of
we
those
need
teams have-
offensive line help.
That's what I'm saying, man.
So why not? Even if he can't fully play right tackle, if he can be a rotational piece, you know what I mean? Like,
would he go to guard? Like, I wonder how left guard works.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Because we need those too.
We need all of the things, I mean, there's talk about, maybe Andre James getting let go. I don't think Taylor would ever play. He's not big enough to play center.
He's not a center.
He's not a center by any means, but we need rotational pieces. We saw how quickly our offensive line just disappeared. you know, at the beginning of the season and stuff like that, injuries, you know, cuts, all that kind of stuff, you know, guys friggin' retiring right before the season starts. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you know, you need guys in that room. And so if Taylor's a guy that can just, you know, step in, you know, if Colt Miller goes down, you know, there he is ready to go. You know, if he jumps over to guard when someone's, you know, I mean, I feel like, yes, it's probably difficult, but he's a freaking pro, man. Like, Taylor could probably jump in and do a lot of different things.
That's a good point, probably, because he's a freak, man. He's talented.
My gosh,
that's what Dave says in their interview. They kind of do a scouting report, on Will and Taylor, and you know what he says. He's like, he's incredibly athletically gifted, so I'm sure he could do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
It just, again, it's a matter of want to. Like, is he at that point in his career where he doesn't feel like he has to be the guy? Like when Incognito came over to the Raiders, he wasn't in that spot where it was like he had to be the guy.
He had a role to fill.
He had a role to fill, and it was a lot of it was leadership and guidance and all that. And so if Taylor is at that point in his career, I don't know. He's only 31 years old, but he's got the 2 ACL. So maybe that accelerates it by age. Because normally you wouldn't think about a player, especially a lineman, getting to that point until they're 33, 4, 5 years old.
Sure.
That's around the time that you're like, okay, I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to, you know, be a, you know, an extension of the coaching staff and a mentor and those types of things. Is he there yet? I don't know. And that'd be a question.
Well, he's a Compton-esque kind of player as well. You know, we've always talked about, you know, our boy Will, that, you know, he was brought in not to be not to wear the green dot in 2019. He came in to freaking bring the boys together, you know? So, I mean, he was, you know, I think Ziegler called him like a lunch pail guy. Or something like that, you know, a guy to bring everybody together, all that stuff. So Taylor could fit into that role as well. I mean, are you kidding me? He's hilarious. He's, you know, total glue guy, all about the team, all for the boys, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you could totally bring a guy in and do all that kind of stuff and get an offensive lineman at a discounted rate that is proven that he can be a freaking beast in this league. Like, I mean, why the hell not? Why not?
Yeah, well, I think the only reason, and we'll move on from it and get to some of the Dave Ziegler specific stuff. I think the only reason I would say it is this, Jeff. I just don't know if he's there in his career yet. Like, you know what I mean? Is he ready to be not the guy, not the stalwart left tackle, the Lincoln Kennedy, the freaking Trent Williams, is he at that point where he's ready to, you know?
I think he is, because I think he right now is, unless he got the right situation, which I think the Raiders were probably one of those guys with all of his ties with Will and Dave and all that kind of stuff. But I think he'd also just be content to podcast all the time. You know, I think he's at that point in his career too. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's still that dog in him that, you know, of course he still wants to ball, but you know,
if he could do both,
and Dave, I mean, hell, Dave Ziegler's friggin' been on the podcast. Max has been on the podcast. You think they're not going to let him go record or do his thing, whatever? So yeah, so you get a team that's, you know, understands and knows what he does in his personal time, you know, as you know, and then bring this guy in knowing that up front, like shit. I mean, why not? You know, but you know, because if not, he might just be ready to go. Okay. Hello, Barstool. I'm a full-time employee now. You know what I mean?
He might. I mean, I think that, and I really want to get off this because I want to just make this all about those two guys. But like, but Comp made those comments to us about like doing the podcast and all that stuff that like his handshakes feel different when he's in the league. And so he knew his time was coming to a close. And so he wanted to not be in the NFL because of the podcast, but he knew the benefit of the next step of his career, the longer he was able to play. Sure. That's just a matter of fact.
Sure.
I think Taylor might be that same way. And so if he could do that and have one complement the other, then that makes sense to me. I could see that playing out. That's interesting. All right. Good stuff there. Good fun conversation anyways, I think about Taylor. And so anyways, but let's check in. More importantly, let's keep this about the Raiders that are.
Right.
Not the Raiders that aren't. And the Raiders that are feature Dave Ziegler as our GM, and we'll put it to him about kind of about the plan and the expectations and the things going forward. Because as Dave says in this interview, I'm not making decisions out of fear. I'm not going to be scared. I can't be scared of the next step. And I want to really hit on that here in a second. But first, let's just go ahead and jump into the comments here about the expectations and the plan.
Oh, like
the fear of failure, like not being able to have that close to you, because I'm sure a decision like that was obviously a huge one. Like the external noise out there, everybody questioning stuff, why this late, all this stuff. It's kind of one of those things where you're, you know, being true, I guess, yourself in that philosophy of like, this is a very difficult decision, but I'm going to go with my gut here and, you know, move forward with it.
Yeah, those are, I mean, like I said, those are,
because I'm sure it's like a fire. You immediately kind of feel like you kind of hear it all, whether or not you want to separate it. It's like, oh, this is going to be massive once it gets out.
Yeah, and I'd be lying if I said you don't hear it all. You know what I mean? Or most of it, like you do. It's hard not to hear, you know, on any of the decisions that you make. And so, yeah, you just got to trust. You got to trust your gut, and you have to be convicted on the decisions that you make, and have a plan and a reason for doing it. And I'm not going to get into all that, but you know, there's a plan and a reason for every decision. And you know, like ultimately you have to feel like you're making the best decision for the Raiders, whether it's, you know, in the short term or the long term. And ultimately that's what we did in that situation.
Yeah.
Man, this has been an outstanding podcast.
It has. You feel like it elevates the expectation at all when you make a decision like that? It's like, all right, well, now we need to figure out what our next moves are. Whether or not, and again, you're like, I can't go too far into it because it's not like you're going to say what your decisions are going to be. But you make a move like that, it's like, all right, boys, we made this decision. Yeah. Let's figure out the way that we make sure we end up being right about this.
Yeah, that's the reality of it, because it's the quarterback.
Right.
It's the most important position on the team. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
And so, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm in charge of myself and, you know, our group. We're in charge of filling the most important position on the team. And so, yeah, there's some, you know, there's some pressure that comes along with that. And however we fill it, it doesn't mean we're going to have an immediate answer, you know, this year. You know what I mean? And so, but at the end of the day, we have to have an answer.
Right.
You know, in some form or fashion, you know? And so, yeah, there's pressure that comes along with it. And again, that's also part of the excitement too, is that pressure, is finding that guy.
All right, Swag Jeff. So there was a
lot to take in there.
A lot to take in there. So let's start off with the collective gasp that was heard from Raider Nation when Dave says, we don't know that we have we don't know that we're going to have an immediate answer at quarterback. And I think a lot of people were taken aback by that comment because it came off as, hey, we're flying from the hip. I didn't read it that way.
I didn't either.
I read it as, we know with where we were, it wasn't going to get us to where we want to go. So we decided to make a change. It's not that they don't have a plan. It's that he's not going to tell you the entirety of a plan on the freaking podcast. The plan is we have $48 million, a free agency period to go through, and a draft to go through, which we hold the 7th pick and 10 picks overall. That's the plan. So it's what he's saying is that it's not that there's going to be uncertainty. It's just saying that, like, we're going to take a swing. We're going to make our move, and it might not work out. We might move up and go get CJ Stroud, and he might suck. You know what I'm saying? That's what he means by there's not an immediate answer. It's because it's not, what that means is that, like, Aaron's not on the way over to the building right now. That's an immediate answer. That there are multiple options on the table for them, and they're not sure which one they're going to take yet. That doesn't mean that you don't still make a move. And also what he's talking there about not being scared and not being afraid. If I see another freaking post on Twitter about, don't you anybody remember what our quarterback situation was like before,
Get
Derek?
ready to get back on the carousel.
Yeah, get back on it. Yeah, I remember. But that doesn't mean that you don't do something different now. Your past does not inform your present, man. I'm sorry. What was it like before Rich Gannon? I mean, he had Jay Schrader and freaking Mark Wilson and, you know, Hostetler. And, like, I mean, you look at the gaps between, you know, Stabler and Plunkett, and then, which was not huge, but still, but then Plunkett and Gannon, and then Gannon to Carr. Like, there was a lot of quarterbacks in there, and there is for a lot of teams. Guess what? Kansas City had a freaking playoff team in a playoff caliber quarterback in Alex Smith, and they drafted Patrick Mahomes, and it changed the entire trajectory of their franchise for the next 15 years.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that you don't take a swing. Carson Wentz was on an MVP path, and they drafted freaking Jalen Hurts in the second round. And it changed the trajectory now for the Eagles for the next however definitive future. Just because you don't have something now, you can't rely on the past to inform. The league evolves. There are different people in place. Like, you think about all the moves that Al made all the way up to when Derek was drafted. All those quarterbacks, Aaron Brooks and Andrew Walter and Tuiasosopo and Jamarcus Russell. Oh, by the way, I was only one drafted quarterback. Everybody else was free agents. All the Matts, Flynn, Schaub, all those guys were all free agent signings. Jason Campbell, like, you think about I get the carousel, but that was a different era. Those were different coaches. That was Al running the team. This is different. You got a new regime in there. You got to hold up, let them cook. You got to let them do it. You can't be afraid of this, Raider Nation. What are you afraid of? Like, it's going to get worse? Because guess what, man? Hey, I got news for you. We hadn't won shit in 20 years. So why are you afraid of change? Like, don't be comfortable with the toxic, or not even toxic, but the relationship that you have that's, it's okay. It's nice.
Mediocre.
It's mediocre. We get along okay. And we have some fun every once in a while, but it's just kind of there.
Right.
Well, why would you settle for that and not move on in your life and attempt to meet somebody that brings you the utmost joy and brings out the best qualities in you? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's in your job, in your relationships, in anything in your life that's, it's okay. It's pretty good. Well, pretty good is not keeping your job in the NFL. Pretty good does not win you championships.
Right.
So,
That's it. Bingo.
Take it away here, Jeff.
Yeah. Well, mediocrity. You think the current situation that we had before was going to beat Patrick Mahomes in and out every year?
3-14 against him, if I remember right.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So, you gotta remember that what we're playing for. Yes, it was comfortable. We know who it is. We got our guy. He's really nice. All this kind of stuff. But he's getting his ass whipped by the red and yellow team year in and year out. You cool with that because you like the guy? Like, come on, man. You got to be willing to take these swings. And for Ziegler and, McDaniels is, he's warranted his fair share of criticism over time. But by the time I was done listening to this podcast and the time I got done reading Hondo's article, a couple months ago, whenever that was, like, I'm feeling pretty freaking rejuvenated about this front office
Me
group.
too, man.
And so, but Ziegler's already getting shit for, he's going to draft, he's going to be a knucklehead, he's going to be an idiot, he's not going to draft the right person. Let's not forget that the first year he didn't draft in the first 2 rounds. We got Devontae freaking Adams. Like, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, and his first draft pick was Dylan Parham, who was a freaking third-round starter and played pretty freaking good.
Right, exactly. And Zeus White, who was amazing backup running back, all that stuff. The only one that you could maybe question at all, which is stupid as shit, is that people are going, the Raiders picked Britton Brown instead of Prosecco or whatever the hell the
Pacheco.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no one else did either. It was in the 7th round when the guy got drafted.
And when was that guy going to ever see? How many times did Britton Brown see the field? He didn't see the field because guess what? We had the leading rusher on our freaking team. No one was getting the ball. So if Pacheco, whatever, got the, if we drafted him, his ass would have been on the bench.
Yeah,
he would have been on the practice
played.
squad.
Yeah.
He would have been traded for, next year's 7th round pick. It doesn't matter. But give these guys a chance to fail before you're already pissed off that they're going to.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So but back to that interview right there, what he was talking about, I'm with you, Murph. I really think that people really read into that, there's not going to be an immediate answer at quarterback. He said, that doesn't mean that there's going to be an immediate. We're going to take our swing. And maybe there is. He talked about hearing all the noise, the people in the building. You can't help it. You're going to hear all that kind of stuff. And the noise right now and all over Twitter was, you cut our 9-year player. You cut our most tenured Raider player. So we need another guy that's going to come in here for 10 years and be the thing. Well, that might not happen. We might have a guy for 4, and then we go draft another rookie quarterback. All that stuff. We've got all these positions that we need to do. So yes, the quarterback is the most important position in all of pro sports, especially in our sport for our team. But, you take swings and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't. That also means that maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't the immediate answer. He may get here and shit the bed. He may get here and just eat a whole bag full of mushrooms and not know what the hell's going on. He may need more dark time or whatever the hell he's doing. I don't know. But whatever it is, I trust that Dave Ziegler is going to make the right choice for the Raiders because he has guts, because he's not drafting scared. He's not going into meetings with Mark scared. He's not talking to Josh scared. This guy's doing what he does best, which is building a freaking football team. And we've seen him do it before in the red and the navy blue. We've seen him bring multiple championships. We've seen him build rosters, all that stuff. Like you said, let this guy freaking cook. I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Absolutely. Look, you can approach this 2 ways. You can bitch about it. You can focus on the negative side of it, or you could choose to look at the positive side of it. And we're going to choose to look at the positive side of it until we have a reason not to.
Right.
And year 1 is not a reason enough not to. You know what I mean? Whether there's been a lot of things that were exposed when certain changes were made and the play calling didn't look as bad as fans thought it was. Offensive line didn't look as bad as fans thought it was. Defense didn't look as bad as fans thought it was. There are some certain shit has come to light and things look a little bit different now. So knowing that, let's give them an opportunity to fail. Now, if they go in and Mayock and Gruden up a few drafts, then you'll hear us on this show bitching about these guys and
if
being
they
like,
do that this draft. It might be the time for, Mark Davis is, he's not getting any younger. He's getting embarrassed year in and year out. If this team isn't going to bring some immediate success, or at least like the future's looking so bright, we got to wear shades kind of shit. You know what I mean? Then, okay, sorry, you're out. We got to move on to the next one. Because Mark Davis is also taking big swings. Because if he wanted the comfortable, safe pick, like what everyone's freaking out about our quarterback situation, then they would have kept Bisaccia, and
sure,
that was great and fine and wonderful. And it was cool. Do we think that Bisaccia was going to bring us to the promised land year in and year out when you had some free agent coaches and GMs and all this stuff? Maybe not. Maybe so. We'll not, like Kanye West said, I guess we'll never know. But, you got to swing for the fences.
You got to swing for the fence. And you know what? And Rich Bisaccia, we love him to death.
Absolutely.
I love him to death. He was incredibly kind to us when we got a chance to meet him at the Blendicott Foundation.
Yeah.
Incredibly kind. We know the rapport he has with his players. So this is not a shit talk at all.
No.
But he's a special teams coordinator in Green Bay. Nobody else wanted him as a head coach either. And so you have to consider that and doesn't mean that McDaniels is going to be a great head coach. We don't know. I think it's still up in the air. Some guys are just better coordinators than they are head coaches. There are people like Norv Turner that are some of the greatest offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators. Look at all the guys that have come out of New England, Romeo Crennel and Charlie Weiss. And all these guys were phenomenal coordinators and stunk it up as head coaches. I'm not saying that McDaniels isn't prone to that yet, but you can't make that decision up in your mind year 1. That's it. Look, Jarret StidHIM, who was also on the podcast got recorded last year after the Niner game.
Right.
But I just got wind of it here just this last week. It's called the QB Room, and it's hosted by Jordan Palmer and Kyle Allen from the Texans. And they bring in quarterbacks, and it's really nerdy football stuff. A lot of it's like super X's and O's kind of stuff and whatever.
I love that stuff.
Concepts and routes and all these different things and signals and terms that I never even heard before. I was just like, whoa, you really get a good
it was
insight.
cool.
It was cool. So StidHIM is on there, and he's talking about what are the things that he learned when he was in New England, and what has he taken now over to the Raiders, coming over with McDaniels. First off, he talked about how thankful he was that McDaniels went out and got him right away.
Yep.
But he was like, when I was there with Tom, it was like Tom's 17th year in the system. It was Brian Hoyer's 9th year in the system. He got up to 4 years in the system, whatever it was. and the value in having that where it's like, it's shorthand. It's knowing McDaniels' system is he didn't call it complicated or anything, but he just talked about the importance of being in it. And it makes me think to, a lot of things that people would say about Carr, like he had all these different coordinators and all these different things, people coming, all these different things he had to learn and all that. QB Jeff will tell you that. Like, it's not easy. Like, it's like learning a new language. It's not easy to learn all that stuff. So it is important to have time in the system. So that's why there's so much talk about, well, they'll bring in someone that already has time in the system. But anyways, point being though, is that Josh McDaniels' system takes some time. So if we're hearing it from the likes of Jarret StidHIM, the likes of Tom Brady, the likes of even Garoppolo or Jacoby Brissett or Mac Jones or anybody else that has played in Josh McDaniels' system, I'm sorry, Raider Nation, I trust their opinion more than yours and more than mine. Sure. If they're the ones saying that it's time in. Now, that may not sit great with us as Raider fans because we want it right now.
Right.
Like, we want to win now. I don't want to win 2 years from now. I want us to win now. So I'm not as invested in like, well, let's just bring in somebody and groom them and get familiar in the system. And then maybe in 3 years, we'll win a playoff game. I'm not down with that either. But I think that the point being, or the more overriding point, is that you have to be patient. And I hate that goddamn word because we do not, we don't deserve anything in life, but we don't deserve to have to be patient. Like,
not anymore.
Not anymore. We deserve immediacy in this freaking fandom.
Yeah.
Because we've been patient for a long, long, long time.
Right.
And that the times that we did feel like we had a swing, at the fence, we freaking, crashed and burned because of injuries, So
sure.
So I understand why Raider fan is not default like, oh no, let's just oh yeah, let's let them cook. Let's see where this thing goes. But at the same time,
right,
we have to really think with a broader scope, a longer vision for what this thing can turn into. And listen, I'm much more interested in a team with a quarterback, coordinator, and a coach and an owner that can develop a winning organization year in, year out for 17 years, 20 years, whatever.
There you go.
The other thing Stidham was talking about, he goes, you look at the teams that are good year in, year out, and the consistency in which they had, that's what they're trying to turn the Raiders into. That's what they said. They want us to be like New England. They want us to be like Pittsburgh. They want us to be like now Kansas City.
Right.
They want us to be like these teams where it's not a Rams situation where they come in, blow it out, win a Super Bowl. Granted, it was nice as a Ram fan to win a Super Bowl that first year in LA, but that's not what they're doing. It's a long-term vision is what they're doing here with the Raiders. And so again, I understand some of you may not like it, and more power to you. I get it.
Sometimes we don't like it.
Sometimes we don't like it either, but I get it. So even though I may not like it as much, I get it. So I'm like, well, all right, I get it. So I can't do anything about it.
Right.
I can get on the microphone and bitch about it for 20 minutes.
Right.
Or I can just accept it and try to find the bright side.
Absolutely. So, so back to that QB room that we were talking about right there with Stidham, one of the things that he talked about that I thought was really interesting was how he was talking about his relationship with Derek and stuff like that. What was that like coming in, all that kind of stuff. And he was very complimentary of Derek, talking about, well, he helped me do a lot of this, but I helped him too. I knew this system. I was the pro in this. So I kind of was like, hey, this is how you need to study this. This is how you need to do it and all that kind of stuff. And like what he said in McDaniels' offense, you really just need time to like fully learn it. And it doesn't happen in just a year. It's a lot more difficult, I'm sure, if you have a quarterback in your room that's QB1 trying to learn that system that also has 5 other systems still rolling around in their head. So it wouldn't shock me to see them go get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who has had 2 playbooks most of his career, whatever, and it wouldn't shock me too. It would not shock me. And we've never talked about this.
Okay.
But it would not shock me if we picked 2 quarterbacks in this next draft.
Yeah, I'm with you. A high rounder and a low rounder.
If you go get CJ Stroud and Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
In the first and the fourth or something like that.
I think I would be all about that.
I'd be all about that just because, you give these guys opportunities to learn this system, to learn what Raider football is all about, and you give them 2 years. and they fight it out and they duke it out, and you let, if you want to let StidHIM come in and start some whatever and help these other guys, and then if Hooker gets it and Stroud doesn't, then trade his ass away or just let him walk after his rookie contract, whatever. But you're taking swings. So, it would not shock me to see something crazy like that happen. And I'm for it.
Because you have to. You have to take swings at quarterback now.
Absolutely.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. Because I saw somebody had a tweet the other day. It was like, there's 5 situations. I hope I can remember this off the top of my head. There's 5 situations in the NFL when it comes to quarterback. Teams that have Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
So there's one. Teams that have quarterbacks on rookie contracts that can go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. So Joe Burrow.
Yep.
Teams with high-priced quarterbacks that can go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. So who would you put in there? I would put
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. There you go. All right. Then you have teams with, there was one more in there. And then it was number 5, I believe, was teams overpaying for average quarterbacks. So there's your Kirk Cousins. There's your former Raider situation. There's your Dak Prescott. There's your
Ryan Tannehill.
There you go.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
So you want to be in the top 2 buckets. So, like we talked a lot about on this show about the value of a rookie contract. There is a way to pay a lot for a quarterback. The definitive thing to where it goes away from the formula of the rookie quarterback is that you have a superstar. You have Aaron Rodgers. You have Patrick Mahomes. You have an all-world player, Tom Brady, whatever. Then it makes sense.
Right.
But those exceptions are so few.
Right.
Give me the broader formula.
Oh, 100%.
That's where I'm at. Give me the rookie quarterback. The thing is, though, you got to draft your ass off. You got to draft your ass off in any of those scenarios. So it's really important for the Raiders to do that. All right. It's good stuff, Swag Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you on swinging on multiple QBs. Fucking bring them all in. Just keep bringing in guys until you hit your superstar, because that's what we have to have.
Yeah.
We got to remember what the bar is, and the bar is Patrick Mahomes. And until we can beat him twice a year, then it doesn't matter what the hell we do. And it starts at quarterback. All right. We need to get out of here?
Yeah.
We need to get out of here? All right.
Yeah.
We'll save our trivia thing for next time.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be fun. No, let's do it now.
Let's do it now. You good? Take 10 minutes.
Yeah, we'll take 10 minutes.
Take 10 minutes. This will be fun. Hit a break.
Hey Raider Nation, this is Max Crosby from the Oakland Raiders.
And goes down, and Max Crosby, who forced a fumble last week.
You're listening to Murf, Mosh, and Swag Jeff on Raiders Fan Radio. Thank you so much. Just win, baby.
All right, so this is fun. So before the show started, so it's funny, and when we do these podcasts, we sit around and end up talking. We try not to talk about the Raiders because we save our Raider talk for when we get on the microphones. But Jeff and I sit around and chop it up about the NFL all the time, and just sports in general, but mostly about the NFL. And for whatever reason, something popped into my head today, and I was thinking about, there used to be a really cool trivia question that was so very Raiders centric, but it's an NFL trivia question. And so I'm going to ask Jeff the question again, because there's a lot to remember.
Yeah.
And I'm going to challenge you, Raider Nation, as you play along with us here and see how many of these you know. So to give you an idea, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 schools that have had 2 starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. Okay. You have LSU with Burrow and Woodley. Georgia is Fran Tarkenton and Matt Stafford. Washington State is Drew Bledsoe and Mark Rippon. BYU is McMahon and Young. Boston College is Ryan and Hasselbeck. Maryland is Boomer Esiason and Neil O'Donnell. Delaware, Joe Flacco, Rich Gannon. Stanford, Jim Plunkett.
Yep.
And John Elway.
Yep.
All right. And then UCLA rounds it out with Aikman and Kilmer. Here's where the fun started.
Okay.
The trivia question used to be, there are 3 schools that have produced 3 starting quarterbacks. Well, when I used to have that trivia question rolling around in my head 20 years ago, that was all there was. There was 3 schools. They were all tied with 3. And the reason that I remembered it is because it's Purdue, Notre Dame, and Alabama.
Right.
Okay. Well, since then, it's now gone up to where there's the ones with 2. Yes, there's the 3 with 3. But now there's one school with 5.
Right.
And it's a school you never would think of that it would have produced this many starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. All right, so I gave you all the ones that have 2, Raider Nation. All right, so play along with Swag here and see if you can guess 3 schools that have produced 3 starting, not winning, 3 starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. So school number 1 is Purdue. Do you remember who they are?
Yeah, that'd be Drew Brees.
Drew Brees.
Greasy.
Bob Greasy for the Dolphins. Yep.
And
it's okay that you forgot him because he's a Chief.
yeah, it's okay. Oh, Lenny Dawson.
Lenny Dawson. There you go. All right. So Purdue produces 3, Brees, Dawson, and Bob Greasy. All right. Notre Dame.
Right.
Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Notre Dame produced 3 starting quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. Swag Jeff, who are they?
Yeah, it's Theismann.
Joe Theismann. So changed his name to Heisman because it rhymes with Heisman.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it Montana, right?
Joe Montanalo, as my Uncle Murf used to call him, because he looks just like Barry Manilow.
Yep, and then one of our favorites.
And then the Mad Bomber. Hanging up right there behind you. Old Daryl Pasquale LaMonica over there. Rest in peace. All right, and then, so we're going to continue with the Raider theme.
Okay.
Well, I just gave it away to a lot of you. The third school is Alabama.
Right.
That have had 3 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Swag Jeff, who do you got?
Well, of course, you got Snake.
Snake Stabler, man.
You got
Boom.
Snake. Oh, man. We've talked a million names
yes,
today.
Yes, you did. I know.
Well, one of them I'm going to kick myself for.
You're going to kick yourself in the nuts on both of them.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Go.
Joe Namath.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Namath and
Do it. You got it.
Who is the other one from way back when?
Won the first 2 Super Bowls.
Right. Oh, Bart Starr.
Bart Starr. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Bart Starr. So what a run for Bama quarterbacks in the 60s,
yeah.
man. You know, and going into the 70s, I guess, really in that 10-year span, because the Super Bowl started in 66. So from 66 to 76, Starr won 2, and Namath won 1, and Stabler won 1.
Yep. And they let another one walk away this past year with Jalen Hurts.
That's right. They would have been that, and they are the only school that is all their starting quarterbacks won their games.
Right.
So if Jalen Hurts would have now, then they're now Bama's had 4.
Yeah.
So no, because he's Oklahoma. He doesn't count.
Yeah.
Never mind.
He would have counted. Yeah.
He would have counted if he would have stayed Alabama. All right, and then the last school, Swag Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah. So
no one's gonna get this.
No.
This is where Raider Nation, if you want to crush somebody at a bar sometime on trivia, when you can't use your phone, can't Google anything, you want to crush somebody on some trivia, ask them who the only school that has produced 5 starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and then name them.
Yeah.
You'll win money every time.
Yeah. Well, out in Berkeley, that is Cal.
It's Cal.
Cal has 5 Super Bowl starting quarterbacks. Of course, one that might be future Raider, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, and the only one, I'm forgive this a little hint to everybody, he's the only one that's won.
Right.
So they're the opposite of Alabama. All the Alabama quarterbacks have won. None of them from Cal have won except Aaron Rodgers.
Right. Absolutely. And starting with the most recent, Jared Goff.
Jared Goff for the LA Rams. Absolutely.
Yep. And I can't remember the other 3.
It's random. So
because it's random.
There's another LA Ram.
Right. Yes.
Remember him? 79 Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That was 9 years before I was born. So the name is slipping my mind.
He's a Dago. He's a Paisan. Vince Ferragamo.
Oh, Ferragamo.
Yeah,
right.
Vince Ferragamo. All right. And then you got to go back to the first Viking Super Bowl pre-Francis Tarkington is the one and only Joe Cap.
Yes, Cap.
Joe Cap. And then your last one is a stupid donkey that got punked in the freaking Super Bowl against the Cowboys, in which we should have been in 77, but we didn't go because the Rob Lytle non-fumble. Anybody that bitches about the tuck rule over the non-fumble, you're doing your Raider fandom wrong. That's the one that cost us a championship. It's Craig Morton for the freaking stupid
There you go.
Broncos.
There you go. Well, that was fun.
I'd never tell anybody how to fan their fandom, but look up the Rob Lytle non-fumble.
There you go.
Tatum blasts him at the freaking line of scrimmage, fumble, and they go, nope, he was down.
Really?
Yeah, so bad. It was so egregious. You never heard this story? It was so egregious that years later, the referees, the officials in that game, approached Madden at an event and said, "We're sorry, we got it wrong." And Madden was like, "Doesn't give me a trophy." Like,
right.
Basically, he was like, "Thanks, but no thanks."
Yeah,
and
thanks, but F you.
But yeah, thanks, but F you. Yeah, because we would have waxed the freaking Cowboys.
Oh my gosh.
The Roger Staubach Cowboys. They weren't that great.
Right.
And freaking, yeah, but we lost the freaking Denver. Yeah, gross. Anyways, all right, let's get out of here. Thank you, Raider Nation. Appreciate you guys very, very much for joining us tonight. We love you so very much. We love you and appreciate your support of the One Nation Foundation. Please go to onenationfoundation.net, onenationfoundation.net. Hit the donate button. It takes you to a PayPal site. 100% of that money goes straight to the foundation. No cut from Google or anything else. So we appreciate that. Or if you want to check out any of our merch, go to RaidersFanRadio.com/gear. Hit the button there that will take you to TeePublic, and anything you buy, any of that merch money we make goes straight to the foundation. So thank you guys very, very much for your support. We will see you. We're going to have some interviews and stuff going on this week, I think.
Yeah.
Some RFR conversations. So we'll be around, but we'll see you for sure on the 15th for RFR proper. Love you guys. Peace.
Oh, goodbye. Oh. Bye. See you later. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the members, boys and girls in the chat. We love each and every one of you. Start pooling your money, start saving your lunch money, all that kind of stuff, because we got this on March 15th. So start of the new league year is the start of the springtime of swag. So get you some of that, man. Thanks everyone. We appreciate you guys. We love you. Like, subscribe, tell a friend, all that good stuff. Buy the merch, do all the things. There you go. See you in a couple weeks. Well, we'll see you sooner than that.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you when we see you, right?
We can get our buddy Wasted in.
Nice.
Yeah.
See you. Bye.
Good night, YouTube.
Goodbye.